What's good, everybody? This is a super sick change and buff for Minior. Every single form is a different type, and before I elaborate on how this works or my thought process or any of the cool things that each of the forms can do, I want to have a quick disclaimer because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to click on this video that are new to my channel or new to my project. So in this ROM hack, every single Pokemon is massively reworked, a lot more than your average run-of-the-mill ROM hack. There are 600 plus move buffs and changes. Those are super crucial to understand how the Pokemon are going to function now. And you can check out all 600 plus of the moves in that Google Sheet. It's linked right in the description below. You can click it and it'll take you to a very detailed Google Sheet where I have all types of crazy stuff laid out, like item buffs and speed tiers and type chart changes and all the Pokemon buffs. And then of course that move guide is right there. Super useful. Definitely give that a look. There are also 130 plus custom brand new moves, so you can check out what those do there as well. I organized it into several different categories, and I took a lot of time to do that. So please don't let that time go to waste and not look at it. Yeah, with that being said, though, Minior, sick buffs. So not only are all the forms absolute glass cannons with really cool dual stab combinations, the Meteor form is also very viable on its own. So as you know, hopefully, if you are a returning viewer, every single Pokemon in this hack is balanced to have two different abilities to choose between with an infinite usability capsule. So Shields Down obviously will allow you to turn into the core forms, which will have Levitate. You cannot change your Minior's form. The one that you catch is how it is forever, which is a bit of a shame, but also kind of cool because then it lets me give them all unique moves, as opposed to if you could change the form. For example, with Furfrou, I can't give them too many moves that don't make sense, although Furfrou is like a normal dog, so they have a bunch of elemental moves anyways. So yeah, whichever form you get is the one that you get. You won't be able to tell until you get it down below half HP, or you just catch it and then test it yourself, which is kind of obnoxious, but is what it is. I would give them a move at level 1 to like be able to tell, but there was none that fit besides priority moves, which are kind of useless because they're super fast anyways. And there also wasn't one for every. I lied. There is one for every form, so I totally could have actually. Maybe I will do that after this video. And just put it over rapid spin, which is useless in game anyways. Because again, these changes, by the way, yeah, that's another disclaimer for anybody who's new here. All the buffs and changes in this hack, they are very in depth and also very overtuned. It's balanced for in-game use. It's not balanced for competitive play. Okay, obviously, I mean honestly, if for this hack standards, 150 special attack, 150 speed, while very strong, is not that good. They don't have boosting abilities, so they have to rely on just their dual stab alone. Um, and they do have very high base power moves, which I'll get into. But at the end of the day, like there are way stronger things that exist in this ROM hack. This is not even probably in the top 10% of strongest in terms of raw damage. And again, raw damage doesn't mean everything. In a hardcore Nuzlocke, these guys would be relatively difficult to use because of how frail they are. However, you have that benefit of having that meteor form to change into your shield form. Sweeping, however, is not going to be realistic unless you're like maybe you can sweep half the team, but once the second a first impression user comes in, you're dead. The only one that can live a first impression is the orange core, and honestly, at -1 defense, you're probably still dying, because you only 2 times resist it, and then the other forms do not resist that at all. So yeah, they're all super sick. I think the typings fit them all really well. The only one that you could say doesn't is like grass, but they're like these cool little space meteors, which is also why I gave them 150 special attack because they're these weird core star guys. Like they're just radiating this energy. So I think them being very strong fits. And then them being extremely fast also fits. And then the meteor form obviously has the same stats, just flipped around a little bit. Um, yeah, Shields Down also has benefits of preventing status and I believe preventing stat drops, which is really useful in a hack like this, where all types of regular moves will drop the opponent's stats, not just stuff like Parting Shot, which basically every Pokemon gets at this point. Or at least a lot of Pokemon get Parting Shot, but also just regular attacking moves that will drop the opponent's stats and utility moves. In this case, you have stuff like Strange Impulse, which will drop special attack by 2. A lot of Pokemon get a lot of those moves, so that's really nice to be immune when you switch in. You can get a hard switch into your Minior and not have to worry about any status either. So like hacks, for example, like you don't have to worry about a burn or a freeze on the switch or a para on the switch, and you can also switch in on stuff like Will-O-Wisp for free, all that fun stuff. So that's really great. I did remove them as physical attackers. I personally just don't see it at all. I think special attackers fits a lot better for, especially now that they're like these elemental guys. I think it fits even more to be special. And like I said, that meteor form is viable on its own. For a lot of boss fights, you're not even going to want to change forms because that bulk and that defensive utility is worth it over the offensive, hyper offensive glass cannon nature of the core forms. Not that they're bad. It's just not. If you're playing smart, at least in a in a hardcore Nuzlocke, you're not going to want to run that core from every fight. If you're playing casually, go ahead and just fucking unga bunga click buttons, But and your Pokemon can faint in that case, so it doesn't matter if you faint. But with Meteor Form, there are other secondary ability that is the one that won't switch forms is Guardian Gale. That prevents that basically negates it's Delta Stream, okay? So it prevents um it weakens flying. Oh, Jesus, what am I trying to say? It makes it so that their flying type weaknesses are negated. Okay, so electric and ice are neutral on meteor form. Rock is neutral on meteor form with Guardian Gale, so that leaves them only with two weaknesses to water and steel. So that's really good. Their HP is poor, but they're still very bulky. They do have reliable recovery in the form of Moonlight. They have good utility moves like Strange Impulse and Cosmic Power and Dual Screens and Volt Switch or U-Turn and all types of stuff. Rocks are not that useful in game, but for certain boss fights, you can get a layer of those. You can get a layer of rocks down to break any potential focus sashes that the AI might use to get a sweep going. You could use that. Um, that goes for shields down sets too. You could get a stealth rock up and then plan out the turn specifically, and maybe you get a psychic terrain up so that they can't priority move you, and now you can get a sweep going. But it's a little bit too much work than it's worth. If you want to go that route, though, you can. It's just it won't work every fight. They all have very high base power stabs. You can check out what all those do in the description. They also all share coverage, so they all have electric, fighting, psychic, ghost, grass, steel, and ground and flying coverage and grass bug coverage. So they have stuff like Aura Sphere, Focus Blast, Psychic, Shadow Ball, or Earth Power, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon, which is very strong up on 10 base power. All types of move buffs and changes there that I don't have time to get into. Volt Switch is great, especially on electric or yellow core. I keep wanting to call them electric core and fire core and stuff, but this is the canonical names according to Google. I think the pink core is technically red core, but I'm not calling that red core. No, that's not red. I don't care. But yeah, Meteor Form. Also, Meteor Form's a really cool design, very underrated. I think it's a really cool, like tribal looking meteor guy. He's super cool. Um, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. They all have very high base power stabs, like Mineral Shower, which is rock type Draco Meteor, and then they all get a move that is 150 base power that drops their special attack stat by 2, besides the blue ice type form, sadly. But they also have really good moves like Blizzard, Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, Freezer Burn, Glaciate. They have all types of good moves there. So it's not like they don't have good high base power stabs. Not that you need high base power stabs on this guy, anyways. In fact, in a hardcore Nuzlocke, I would never even consider running any of the inaccurate moves for half a second. Um, unless I'm running a wide lens with it, in which case then maybe. But it's really not worth it. You don't need that much power. It's overkill, and then you're risking death, especially on a frail ass glass cannon like this. Also, I didn't mention Ancient Power always gives you +1 spin F now, so that's great on Meteor form, especially. You can click Ancient Power and Moonlight, and you can become super tanky. You can use that with like Iron Defense too. Keep in mind that crit moves, which are very common in attack, will bypass right through your defensive boosts, however. And of course, you don't have that. You're pretty passive, not super passive. I mean, your 60 total attack is usable with like strong moves, for example, Power Gem and stuff, but it's not. It's mostly just a utility Pokemon, which is fun. It's very good. It's even just for pivoting in on Pokemon is good. Interstellar is a trainers only ability that functions like plus. So essentially, if you go to the Google Sheet, you can check it out yourself. I'm not going to switch tabs just because it lags a bit while I record when I do that. But basically, all of these interstellar space Pokemon like Beheeyem, Deoxys, Clefable, Lunatone, Solrock have this ability, and there will be a boss fight with all 6 of those. Starmie as well. Those 6 Pokemon, and there'll be another boss fight. If you can guess who it's going to be, it's the music that's playing right now with all of the core forms. They're going to be already in their core form, 150 special attack, 150 speed, and they're all going to get a 50% boost to their special attacks. That the fight won't be that hard, honestly, because they're all frail as fuck. You can just priority spam. Basically, every Pokemon in the game has priority. It'll be fun, and it's a double battle, so it'll inherently be kind of challenging. But if you plan it out properly, it's not like anything overpowered. There'll be way harder trainer fights. It's just a fun little gimmick. I think that they're all like boosting themselves up as a cool little idea. So yeah, probably the last Dulse fight in Vast Pony Canyon will have 6 Minior. So yeah, it's super fun. I think that's really about it, though. Again, check out that Google Sheet. Look at the other move buffs and changes. I don't have time to get into every single one. I wish I did, but I don't want to drag these on too long. So I just encourage you to check it out yourself. It has good utility. I mean, Cosmic Chaos, that's good for the Meteor form. That is a 1 PP move that is priority that will always flinch, and it halves the HP. So it's like Super Fang. It comes from Nature's Madness. So Meteor form really appreciates having that for totem fights, especially with its great bulk. It can switch in and click Cosmic Chaos and flinch them and take half their HP away when they're full HP. That's really useful. Mirror Coat also useful for like Ultra Necrozma or maybe Totem Mimikyu if it's a mixed attacker. I'll see how that is. But yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll be back for more buffs and changes coming up. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know down below in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments, leave a comment just telling me if you listened this far into the video, because I would really appreciate to know how many people do end up listening all the way through. All right, peace everyone.